Okay, we're rolling.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. I hope you're doing fantastic. Thanks for being here. We're doing that 365 days in a row thing, and it's a lot of content. I get it. Thank you. And if you've been along for the ride, you know, we're well past halfway through the year. We're still going. Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to take in, and I appreciate you picking the episode that stand out to you based on the titles and what we're talking about. And you know you can always come back here when you got some free time. So there's a lot of great content here for you. A lot of great co-hosts on the show. I'm just amazed at who I get to talk to on this show. So yeah, there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to absorb. And I hope that this podcast finds you well and is there as a support for you in your podcast journey. It's incredible to have this thing called podcasting, and it's incredible to have time with you. So I really appreciate you. Thanks for being here. I am a firm believer that no one should ever podcast alone, ever. I don't think you should swim alone. I don't think you should walk down a dark street at night with no lights alone. I don't think you should do skydiving alone. There's a lot of things you shouldn't do alone, and podcasting is one of them. You should not be a podcaster by yourself. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just that I think you're going to do better if you're surrounded by people who love and cherish podcasting as much as you do. And if you want to meet people like that, then come to our meetup group. howtopodcast.ca is where you can find the information for this. There's a lot of podcast communities out there, and a lot of them are behind a paywall, or they're part of a funnel, or there's some kind of bait and switch, which is unfortunate. This group here on Meetup, we've been together now. We're in our 4th year, and no, there's no sales funnel. There's none of that stuff. And to that point, I've had 2 people from the group, Dave Beckmeyer in California and Bill Monty in Florida, have got together to share their thoughts about the group. I did not ask them to do this. I am thrilled that they did, but they were talking about the Meetup group, and I wanted to share with you their thoughts about the group as an unbiased outside perspective, as 2 participants in the group, so that you can hear their thoughts. And hopefully this might persuade you to go, you know, maybe I should give that a try. Here's Dave Beckmeyer from California. Here's Bill Monty from Florida talking about our little meetup group and what we do on a regular basis. Here's Dave and Bill.
This episode got me thinking about something I've been doing almost every Saturday for the last several years now. Regarding real change taking longer than a weekend, I wanted to mention a podcast meetup run by a friend of the show, David Campbell. Rather than have Dave do a promo about it himself, I spoke with a fellow member of the group, Bill Monty.
I was so lucky to just stumble upon Dave's meetings. The first meeting, I knew this was different than other groups I had belonged to. First off, the other groups I had to pay to be in. And sometimes I was completely ignored, never asked a question or even acknowledged that I was part of a little 5-person group. And so this became something very different for me. And really it was someone tossing me a lifeline, because at that point I was just thinking about giving up podcasting. Dave uses the word community a lot, and that's exactly what we've built. We've built this little podcasting community of people who actually care for each other. There's no judgment. There's no sales. It's a great place to learn, and it's a great place to feel safe.
If you're looking for a podcast community that feels more like a long-term conversation than a weekend transformation, the easiest way to join is visit Dave's site, howtopodcast.ca, and scroll down to the meetup. It's free, and honestly, it's one of the few podcast groups I keep coming back to.
Thanks, guys. Great to have you here with us in the meetup group. And if you want to meet these 2 fabulous gentlemen, come join us on our meetup. We're every Tuesday and Saturday, and we'll add more. Don't threaten us with a good time. We'll have more, but we'd love to have you join us. Don't podcast alone. We'd love to have you there. So we are talking today around a question that I was pondering. And the question simply is, for you as a podcaster, what is your start here episode? Like, you're talking to somebody in an elevator, at work, over coffee. You're just interacting with somebody who's new to your show. They just came up in conversation. And somebody says to you, what's your start here episode? Like, you have so many episodes. Dave, you have 762 episodes of the How to Podcast series, plus more. Where do I start? And it's a hard question to answer off the top of your head if you haven't put any thought into this. I like to ask this question of my guests on my shows. Where, you have a lot of great episodes. I've been listening. I love what you do. Where would you say is a good place to start as a new listener for your show? And people are like, oh, that's a great question. I've really thought of that. Maybe we should put some thought into this as podcasters. We should have a starting point somewhere for people to begin their journey as a new listener. Part of this would be a trailer, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. That's one option, but there's also a first episode that would be a great place for people to start, to get a sense of the show, a sense of you as a podcast host, a sense of what happens on the show, and kind of like a great introductory to all things about your podcast. It's something shareable that your audience can share with others. It's a great place for people who are new to podcasting, who can come to your show and fit in right away. But what is your start here episode? We're going to talk about this on the show. I'm excited about this. This question of where to start as a new listener, it's pretty interesting because many podcasts have been around for years. You have dozens, hundreds, even thousands of episodes in your catalog. Well, that's a great achievement. It also creates a challenge for someone who is hearing about your show for the very first time and they have never listened to your podcast before. Somebody told them about you. They found you on a search. You were recommended somehow, some way to somebody new. And they're coming to a wall of content going, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. Where do I even start? Talk about too many options, right? They don't know which episode best represents your podcast, and they may not even want to spend time scrolling through years of content, trying to figure it all out. It's a big, daunting task. That's where many podcasters think a trailer is the answer. Podcast trailers certainly have their place. They're a great way to introduce a new show before it even launches or announce changes to your podcast down the road. Trailer is very versatile. It's nice because a trailer lives on top of your regular episodes. It always kind of lives at the top of the page on most player apps, which is nice. Highly shareable because it's short, it's punchy, kind of captures the feel of the show. Trailers do a lot of hard work for podcasts. If you don't have a trailer for your show, you should probably invest in that. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through this. But this episode, like a full episode, what would be a good full episode starting point for a listener? Instead of consider creating what I like to call, and through this podcast, a Start Here episode. And a Start Here episode isn't simply a commercial for your podcast. It's a conversation with someone who has found your show. It's an opportunity to welcome them and to explain why you created the podcast in the first place. It's also designed to help and give somebody a landing place to start their journey with you. More importantly, it also lets them hear your podcast, what it actually sounds like, instead of you just describing it to them. They get to actually taste and see if this is the podcast for them. Think about it from a listener's perspective. They're asking themselves a few simple questions. Is this podcast for me? Will I learn anything? Does it meet my needs? Will I enjoy spending time with this host? And is it worth subscribing to? What's in it for me as a listener? A lot of the times we approach podcasting as I have a message to share with the world. I want to start a show. Great. But to what end and for what person? A Start Here episode, I think, answers those questions naturally around what's in it for me. It introduces your personality and your style and your mission, like why this thing even exists in the first place. It's also an opportunity for you to point your listeners toward some of your favorite episodes. Maybe a montage of your favorite interviews or interview moments. Great things that have happened on the show in the past. A best of is an option. Instead of leaving them to guess, kind of where should I start, and maybe I start in the wrong spot and have a bad experience, so I don't want to continue. You want them to try it and stay. And the simple bit of guidance can simply improve the experience for a new listener coming into your world. A nice thing is that it doesn't have to be one that replaces your podcast trailer. This Start Here episode could be something that works next to your trailer. The two can work together in harmony. A trailer creates curiosity and invites people to check out your show, and a Start Here episode welcomes them once they've arrived and helps them to decide if they want to stay. As a podcast grows and changes, don't be afraid to revisit this episode. Update it, change it, make it more relevant for what's happening in the present day, especially if you've done a Start Here episode that gets buried in your back catalog. And don't be afraid to play with your release date for a Start Here episode and move it up to the more current episode date range so that people see it with all your new episodes. You can play with the date of your episode anytime you want, especially if it's evergreen content still relevant in the future. So what I love to do, and I've been doing this experiment, it's been working really well, is going back into the past, grabbing an old episode that still has meaning, bring it to the more recent episodes, and give it a yesterday's date. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, but yesterday. And what it does is it brings an old episode up into the most recent episodes. So when you find my show, you'll see something that's meaningful from the past that still, I think, an audience member would love to hear. And that could be your Start Here episode. You can play with that date range anytime you want. Move it around, bring it up to the recent episodes, and play with it. It's your content. There's no rules. You're not going to break anything. I wouldn't advise putting it into the future, because that could, for some people, flag it as a new release when it's not really a new release, especially if you haven't updated the content. So putting it up to yesterday's date, you don't break anything. And it doesn't signal a new listen to your audience as a new episode, which it's not really, it's not. If you've never considered creating a Start Here episode, then maybe this is one thing you need to add to your list of things to do in the future. Again, you can place this anywhere in your catalog. So be creative with this. This might be something you need to look into. It could be one of your most valuable additions to your catalog of episodes. After all, every loyal listener was once a brand new listener. You got to remember that. Everybody that's come to your show pressed play for the first time. And if they loved it, they stayed. And if they really loved it, they told somebody about you. So think about that. Everybody that's been a regular listener of your show came here for the first time and pressed play and had no idea what they were going to get. And it worked. So maybe that first episode should be your priority. Why leave that decision to chance when you could guide them directly to an episode that you want them to listen to first? Your podcast trailer introduces your show, but your Start Here episode introduces you. Give new listeners a clear, welcoming place to begin, and you'll make it much easier for them to become long-term members of your podcast community. It's something for you to think about. If you have a YouTube channel, which I highly advise you to have a YouTube channel for your podcast, even if it's audio only, like I've done, then the one thing you can do is you can actually create playlists. And what I did back in February, if you are new here, you might not know about this. Back in February 13th and 14th, I did a 24-hour marathon where I recorded an episode every hour on the hour for 24 hours straight. 24 episodes in 24 hours. Recorded, edited, posted, and then on the even hours, I went live on TikTok, on LinkedIn, a bunch of different places, YouTube, and I interacted with my audience in real time over a 24-hour span of time. 24 episodes in a row. And I called it my Start Here. It's the podcaster's path, 24 steps from beginner to pro. And it takes you through every part of podcasting from the very beginning. It is my Start Here. And it's a separate playlist. I'll have a link for you if you want. You can hear Dave at 3 a.m. if you want. It gets a little weird as I go through the night. But yeah, it's all there for you. And if that's my Start Here as an example. Now, you don't have to do a 24-hour marathon. And you don't have to do 24 episodes. It can be a single episode. But you could create a playlist that could be that Start Here episode, maybe also with your trailer, for example. And that could be something easily shared as a playlist link from YouTube, even if it's audio, to your audience that they can use. And maybe that goes on your website. And you can have an embed player on your website where that YouTube video or audio will show up right on your website as a Start Here episode. Another great thing for you to consider: leverage your website, leverage your social media, leverage your newsletter as your Start Here episode and promote it. So having a YouTube channel, I think, is kind of like a must-have or a must-consider for any podcaster starting out. If you ever need help with that, let me know. It's free to set up. It works really well, and it allows you to reach a lot of people. And it's not that bad. Once you set it, you can basically set it and forget it. It works behind the scenes for you all the time. And it's great to be found on YouTube. So maybe that'd be your answer for your Start Here episode. Once you land on that, maybe if it's already pre-recorded, it's an old episode that you are going to designate as, this is the episode I would get you to start with. Then great. That could be your Start Here episode. You could even jump in and update the title for that episode and put it right there. Start Here. You know, this is the episode to begin with, listening to my podcast. And put that into the episode title or in the description. That way people know that this is a Start Here episode. And then, like I talked about, even if your Start Here episode was from 2 years ago, you could jump in, change the date, bring it up to the recent date, to yesterday, and it will live at the top of your most recent episodes as often as you update that date range. And that will show as people, this is a great place for you to start listening when you come to my show for the first time. A lot of great things you can do, but having a Start Here episode is really important. I do want to also just reinforce the fact that trailers are a great thing, not just for you, but for your audience. When you have a trailer episode, 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes, maybe max, it's a way for the audience to share your show without your permission, without you giving any direction. I, as a listener, can share your show with another friend that I think would like your show. And I don't need your help. I just give them your trailer. There are podcast trailer websites. There's podcasts about podcast trailers out there. There's a lot of things where people are looking for your podcast trailer. And I'm shocked by the amount of podcasters who haven't invested in creating their own podcast trailer or updating it. They just they've fallen asleep at the wheel when it comes to podcast trailers. I really think you need to look at it. It's really important. And I would encourage you to do that. If you don't know how to do a podcast trailer, you don't know how to set it up in your podcast hosting site, I can help you with all of these things over at howtopodcast.ca. Okay, so have a Start Here episode, pair it up with your trailer, and you'll have these shareable assets for people to talk about your show when you're not in the room. And that's what you need, people talking about your show. And remember, every listener, whether they've been with you for 762 episodes, or this is their first time through the door, hi, by the way, everybody starts as a new listener of your show. So give them something to hang on to, something worth connecting with, and give them a Start Here episode. It might actually turn them into a rabid fan, somebody who loves what you do. It might work. It's worth the effort. Thanks for checking it out. Talk tomorrow. So here at the How to Podcast series, we love to hear from you. You might think that we get a lot of feedback. Man, we don't. We don't get a lot because people just feel like, why bother? Like, why? Does Dave really care what I have to say? And I do. I actually do really care what you have to say. I love your input. I love hearing from you. And we've started a survey for our listening audience, which includes you right here, right now. And I'd love, love, love for you to head over to howtopodcast.ca. And you'll see our survey right there on our website. And take a few minutes, come through, answer the thoughtful questions we're asking of you to make the show better. Not just for you, but for everyone. Your feedback is really going to help shape the show. And I, selfishly, just want to hear from you. So if you're thinking, Dave probably already knows what I think, I don't. I really don't. I'm not good at reading minds. My wife will confirm that completely. So I don't really know what you think of the show. I don't know if you like it, if you like how long the show is, how long the episodes are, that Dave's doing 365 episodes in a year. Oh my gosh. Like, I would love to hear from you and get your thoughts on this very show right here. So head over to howtopodcast.ca, click on our survey link. It's also in the show notes for every episode, in the most recent episodes, and I'd love to hear from you. So as a listener of this here very show, your feedback can make this show so much better. So much better. And I'm not drowning in emails and voice messages and speak pipes and buy me a coffees right now. So I'm putting the ask out to you right now, as a listener of the show, and you're still here, that you take a moment, head over to our website, click the link in the show notes for any episode, and go to our survey and let us know your thoughts about this show, how it could be better, and what you love, and what you're like, Dave, can you stop doing this? That would be really helpful. Thanks for being here and being part of the How to Podcast family. See you over at howtopodcast.ca. Talk soon. Thanks for being here. Bye. You're still here? Great. Okay. I've done over my 2,500 episodes, roughly. At this point, I've done about half of those would be interviews. So well over 1,000 interviews for my podcast. And the question I had from a fellow interview podcaster recently was, they said, Dave, how do you deal with somebody who is rambling as a guest or dominates the conversation, and they've kind of hijacked my show? Like, what do I do with this person? How do I get them back on track? How do I get control of my show again when my guest runs away with my podcast? And the one thing I gave them as a tool that I've used in the past is a yes-no question. Wherever you can squeeze it in while they're going on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and they just seem to hijack your show, have a yes-no question available, because it's a pattern disrupt for them. They're forced to answer with a one-word answer. And in that, then you can reclaim the mic. The other part of this, I would say, is make sure you're always listening to your potential guest on other shows, if possible, so that you can kind of get the sense of whether or not they do this to other people. And if you're not comfortable having somebody on who's very dominant, then maybe they're not the right guest right now for you and for your show. That's an easy way to say no at this point. It's not going to work. We'll have you back in the future. But those yes-no questions really work. I've used them in my own shows. And doing my research has really helped me to avoid what could be a takeover of my show. It's your show. Your audience is here for you. They love you. The guest is a stranger to them, but they come for you. So when you're absent from the interview because your guest has hijacked your show, your audience is not enjoying the experience as much as you're not enjoying the experience. So if it's awkward for everybody except your guest, it's time to shut her down. Worst case scenario, you can just record the episode and not release it. It's happened for me many times. And the guest just didn't deliver. They didn't meet the promise that we agreed upon for the audience member that's listening, so the episode didn't go out. And I don't give them a fake answer like my computer ate your podcast. No, I give them the real answer. It just didn't serve the needs of my audience, so we're not going to release it. And be fine with that. It's okay. Don't lie to your guests. Don't lie to your audience. And don't lie to yourself. And don't let people run away with your show. If you need help, let me know. howtopodcast.ca. Happy to help.